Okay, so coming out the previous chapter, we saw that Denji was drugged by Ishida along with the rest of public safety and taken prisoner by the Japanese government for turning into Chainsaw Man, and is being held prisoner in the Tokyo Devil Detention Center, which is pretty much the most secure prison in all of Japan, where surgeons there are constantly cutting Denji's legs off and experimenting on him because Denji's body is now officially owned by the Japanese government. And Denji himself, even with the help of Uchida, is unable to get himself out of the position that he's in because the surgeons are constantly cutting his legs off and possibly feeding them to the other devils at the facility to make them even stronger. But at the end of the chapter, we see a lone figure is actually standing in front of the facility. And a lot of people thought it was Reize, but the chapter starts with Asa and the Famine Double standing in front of the entrance of the prison. And we actually see in this chapter, Asa, unlike Denji, who has been shown to be able to regrow his limbs as long as he has enough blood to turn into Chainsaw Man, or he's pretty much fed blood. Well, it isn't the case for Asa, who seemingly lost her right arm in her fight against Yoshida, and I guess it hasn't tried to regrow her arm using really this method that she actually is seemingly aware of, and Asa hasn't also asked the Famine Double to hear her either, which we sort of know that the Famine Double has the ability to do. So either there's a choice that Asa made not to drink the blood, because maybe she's just disgusted by it, or she just isn't aware of the Famine Double's abilities to, well, heal people. And we're getting an explanation of why Asa and the Famine Double are still wearing their high school uniforms to break into the most secure prison in Japan. It is explained by the Famine Double, who's also acting as the narrator for this chapter. It's because out of everything they could wear, the high school uniforms is the least suspicious because sometimes public safety will actually host tours of this top secret facility, the high school students. Now, I'm pretty sure this is more of Fujimoto trying to cover himself from having to give Asa a redesign, especially when the Famine Double's plan to a certain extent does contradict what she's actually saying. So yeah, I don't know if this is really meant to be a comedic moment, or this is really meant to display just how bad of a liar the Famine Devil actually is. We then learn that the Famine Devil, in her infinite knowledge, reveals to Asa and Yuri that Denji is being held prisoner underground deep in the facility, and it's up to Asa to break down the entrance so they can actually get inside. And what I find interesting is how the Famine Devil has all this inside information, things that she shouldn't know about. And I'm pretty sure it's because Yoshida or someone else within the Japanese government is probably leaking information out to her, or she could possibly have a contract or just be controlling a devil that will allow her to get this kind of information. Before we can see Asa go through with this plan, we actually see her start to question if what they're doing will actually save Chainsaw Man. And this is where we can see, despite the amount of time that's gone on off screen, I think technically speaking it's been a week, but I mean, with us not seeing Asa, technically speaking, in the story, it's probably been like a few months. Asa is still left unaware of who Chainsaw Man actually is, and the purpose he actually serves for Denji, at least from what we know. If Asa were to defeat Chainsaw Man and take Pochita away from Denji, which is what I assume the Famine Double is trying to have Asa and Yoro do, it would effectively kill Denji because Pochita is still acting as Denji's heart. Despite it being very clear that the Famine Double has been and is currently playing Asa for a fool, and has given Asa multiple instances of why she shouldn't trust the Famine Double at all, especially with turning the members of the Chainsaw Man Church against the world, well, against their own free will, Asa and Yuri are still chosen to trust the Famine Double despite the damage she's done to the world and to Asa as well. And we see Asa build her own resolve and begins to walk towards the facility, where we see that the plan that the Famine Devil had begins to fall apart instantly because security guards there were about to kill them with the machine turrets, despite appearing as regular high schoolers. So yeah, these guys are pretty ruthless, and it really does go to show this what type of facility this really is. And in the next panel, we actually see that we're getting a Hunter x Hunter exposition that we actually get from the Famine Devil, that between the TV appearances, the Chainsaw Man Church's financial support, and the devil victim compensation payouts that Asa has received from, I'm guessing, her mom dying and her being left as an orphan, Asa saved up 1.33 million yen, which is $8,872.34, and through a contract with the Famine Devil written up by her, Asa brought the weapon devils, or at least she perceives she brought the weapon system, and was able to turn the turrets into her own weapons without physically touching them, and blast open the door for them to get into the facility. And this alerts all the military personnel there that they're being attacked by Asa Mitaka, who they know is a part of the Chainsaw Man Church, and are pretty much assuming, and correctly assume, that she's after Chainsaw Man, that she's there to free him. And we get a panel of the Family Devil and Asa running through the facility, where we learn that if Asa and the Family Devil were to be spotted, they wouldn't be able to use the rest of the facility's weapons and would have to engage the soldiers directly. And when Asa questions why the Family Devil won't help her with any of this, we pretty much learn from the Family Devil that she's pretty much acting as their trump card. And it lets us know whatever the Family Devil's powers are, which haven't fully been explained or fleshed out, they aren't on the physical side of things like they were with Makima and Yoru, who theoretically could be one-man armies. It involved more around the control of stronger devils, sort of like with Megami from JJK with his 10 Shadows technique, and Makima's own control devil abilities. I'll probably be making a video fully explaining how the Family Devil's powers work, but in any case, the Family Devil explains to Asa, even though that she's grown a lot stronger compared to the start of the story, the soldiers at the facility along with the security systems are still equipped well enough to kill the both of them, and urges Asa to be more cautious, which is something Asa tries to do but fails instantly, because once again, when it matters the most, Asa fell straight on her face, alluring the soldiers to their presence and forcing the Famine Devil to get ready to summon a devil, and that's how the chapter ends. But let me know down in the comments what you guys thought of this chapter, and what do you think the Famine Devil's intentions really are, because it's very obvious that the Famine Devil hasn't been truthful to Asa at all throughout the entire story of part 2. So yeah, let me know what do you guys think her intentions truly are, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.